Welcome, listeners, to Snippets of Knowledge, the podcast where we chip away at the vast rock face of information to reveal the most valuable gems for your professional and personal life. In this episode, we're delving deep into a classic text that's as relevant today as it was when it first hit the shelves. We're talking about The Effective Executive by the prolific Peter F. Drucker, a man whose wisdom has shaped the modern management philosophy. Fasten your seatbelts as we uncover Drucker's timeless principles on productivity, decision-making, and what it really means to be effective in the ever-evolving world of business. So whether you're a seasoned executive or an aspiring leader, prepare to have your perspective transformed. Get ready to discover how to not only do things right, but to do the right things effectively. Effectiveness. It's a term often thrown around in the business world like confetti at a parade. But what does it really mean to be effective as an executive? Peter Drucker, the father of modern management, broke it down for us in his seminal book, The Effective Executive. For Drucker, the measure of an executive is not in their intelligence, their ambition, or even their technical skills. It's all about effectiveness. And effectiveness means one thing: getting the right things done. It's not just a sheer volume of work, it's the impact you make. You could be the busiest person in the room, but if that business isn't translating to results, well, it's just busyness. Now you may ask, why is this the cornerstone of an executive's role? It's simple, because executives make decision after decision, day in and day out. Their effectiveness is multiplied throughout the organization. Their choices and actions have ripples that affect teams, strategies, and ultimately the success of the organization. And Drucker wasn't just talking about any executives. He believed every knowledge worker in a managerial position had these responsibilities, making effectiveness not just important, but essential. As we settle in with Drucker's key principles in the following sections, keep in mind that these aren't just tips or tricks. They're a mindset, a way of life for the executive aiming not just to do more, but to do better. To be effective is to shape your time, your work, and your decisions so that you're always hitting the target. And that's what Drucker was guiding us towards. Operational excellence where it truly counts. You might think your day is packed to the brim with productive work, but have you ever tracked your time to see where it actually goes? Peter F. Drucker, in The Effective Executive, challenges us to do just that. He argues that time is the most precious resource we have, and it's often squandered without our even realizing it. So, how do you stop the leak? Firstly, Drucker advises us to meticulously record our time, whether it's a meeting that could have been an email or tasks that could be delegated. By keeping a time log, we begin to see patterns of activity that may be ripe for optimization. But tracking is just the beginning. Once you know where your time is going, it's time for managing it. Drucker proposes that we consolidate our time into larger blocks, dedicated to a single task or type of work. This can help to minimize the inefficiencies caused by task switching and interruptions, allowing for deeper concentration and more meaningful output. Then there's the act of cutting out time wasters. By eliminating or delegating tasks that do not contribute to our effectiveness, we free up invaluable time slots to focus on what truly matters. Drucker also warns against the lure of the urgent, that is, tasks that demand immediate attention but may not be important. It's essential to distinguish between what's urgent and what's truly important. Lastly, time management isn't just about work. Drucker reminds us to carve out time for uninterrupted thinking and reflection, which is often when our best ideas and insights arise. It's about working smarter, not just harder. So if you find yourself constantly busy, yet somehow unproductive, maybe it's time to start asking not just what am I doing, but is this the best use of my time? Have you ever considered what truly transforms an ordinary workday into an extraordinary reel of productivity? Well, Dr. Drucker has, and he reveals that the answer lies in focusing on contributions. This isn't just about checking off tasks on your to-do list. It's about understanding the impact of your work, about aiming your efforts at contributions that make a significant difference to your organization. It's easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day operations, but Drucker challenges executives to ask themselves, what can I contribute that will significantly affect the performance and the results of the institution I serve? This slight pivot from being activity-centered to contribution-centered can lead to profound changes, not only in how an executive approaches their role, but also in how their contributions shape the organization's destiny. By focusing on contributions, you're also inherently prioritizing teamwork and collaboration. It's about recognizing that your work is part of a greater whole and that by helping others to be effective, you elevate the entire organization. It's like being a conductor of an orchestra, ensuring that every instrument contributes to a harmonious symphony rather than playing a solo. So, how do you shift to this contribution-focused mindset? Start by setting clear contribution-based goals for yourself and your team. Make it a habit to assess the expected impact of your activities. And remember, the right contributions can lead to success not just on an individual level, but for the company as a whole. Evoke that sense of responsibility and direction in your work ethic, and watch as the productivity of your team and the entire organization transforms. Drucker had a revolutionary idea when it came to productivity. He believed that effective executives don't waste their time trying to patch up their weaknesses, but instead focus on enhancing their strengths. The reason behind this philosophy is pretty straightforward. If you concentrate on what you're already good at, the output is naturally going to be better and more efficient. So how do you put this into practice? Well, it starts with some introspection. Take a moment to reflect on your recent successes. What were you doing? What skills were you using? Chances are, these are your strength zones. Now, the next step is leveraging these strengths. Maybe you're an ace at analytical thinking. Can you delegate tasks to free up more time for data analysis? But remember, it's not just about you. It's about your team as well. A key aspect of being an executive is identifying the strengths of your colleagues and direct reports. Say you have a team member who is exceptional at client relations. Why not let them take the lead in client-facing situations? This approach not only boosts the team's overall effectiveness, but also increases job satisfaction since people are doing what they're best at. Think of your organization as a puzzle, with each person as a unique piece. Your job is to fit these pieces together in a way that maximizes the strengths of each individual to create a cohesive and productive whole. By following Drucker's advice on making strengths productive, you can transform the way you and your team operate, achieving results that are truly effective. Prioritization is key in an executive's workload. Peter Drucker argues that effective executives don't just happen to stumble upon success, they make it a point to focus on the most impactful tasks at hand. It's not just about being busy, but about being busy with what truly matters. Drucker illuminates the process by teaching us to ask the question, what can I contribute, rather than what can I achieve? This subtle shift in perspective can make a sea of difference. It places value on what we bring to the table in service of the larger organizational goals over personal accolades. So, how does an executive sift through the myriad of tasks to find those golden nuggets that are truly worth their time and effort? Drucker suggests that it starts with identifying where your time currently goes and then consciously cutting away the non-essentials. He prompts executives to resist the temptation to do what's easy or what's familiar, and instead focus on where they can have real impact. Moreover, this effort to prioritize correctly must be married with the courage to make decisions, even uncomfortable ones, such as stopping a project that is no longer productive. But remember, it's not enough to decide once and for all. Prioritization and decision-making are ongoing, dynamic processes. They require regular reviews, adjustments, and sometimes the pragmatism to abandon tasks that may have been important once, but no longer align with the organization's current priorities. These insights on decision-making and prioritization from Drucker's The Effective Executive are not just a recipe for productivity. They are a roadmap for meaningful action, steering us towards those efforts that will make a profound difference in our organizations and the greater ecosystem of our professional lives. Decisions are the lifeblood of an organization, shaping its future and its potential for success. Peter Drucker, in The Effective Executive, challenges us to think critically about the decision-making process. He outlines a clear framework crafted to guide executives in making choices that are both sound and impactful. First, Drucker insists on the importance of asking, is this decision necessary? Too often we get bogged down by trivialities that can be resolved without a high-level decision. By focusing only on decisions that truly matter, an executive can concentrate their energy where it counts. Next, he suggests clarifying what the decision has to achieve. Drucker doesn't just mean defining the goal, but thinking deeply about the intended impact. What are the objectives? Who will be affected? This clarity is crucial for determining the effectiveness of a decision. Once the purposes are clear, Drucker encourages us to seek out different options. Effective executives don't jump at the first solution that appears. They build an array of alternatives. It's this breadth of perspective that can often reveal the path to an innovative and effective decision. Drucker also emphasizes the importance of building a right decision into the organization. It's not sufficient to make a decision. An executive must ensure it's carried out and that it becomes part of the organizational fabric. This means communicating effectively, setting responsibilities, and establishing the right processes for implementation. Lastly, he tells us to revisit our decisions. In a dynamic business environment, feedback is essential. Has the decision achieved its intended outcomes? Where might we need to adjust? This form of systematic review can create a continuous loop of improvement and effectiveness in decision-making. In essence, Drucker reminds us that the true measure of an executive isn't the quantity of decisions made, but their quality and effectiveness. Each decision is a stepping stone, guiding an organization's journey towards its ultimate goals. So think, deliberate, and decide with intention, for as Drucker shows us, this is the heart of effective executive leadership. As we near the end of our exploration into the effective executive, let's highlight the essential habits that, according to Peter Drucker, can pave the way to true effectiveness. First is the habit of managing one's time. An effective executive knows that time is irreplaceable, and thus they audit their time regularly to eliminate what's unproductive. Equally crucial is the habit of focusing on outward contribution. What can I contribute to the organization? That's the question an effective executive asks to steer their work beyond the confines of mundane tasks. Next, there's the practice of building on strengths. Effective executives don't waste time trying to fix every weakness. Instead, they leverage the strengths of their peers and themselves to achieve exceptional results. Prioritization, of course, cannot be overstated. The habit of working on things that significantly contribute to the organization's goals is a game changer. Lastly, making effective decisions is a habit interwoven with all the others. Effective executives are systematic in their decision-making process and focus on getting the right things done rather than just doing things right. Mastering these habits doesn't happen overnight, but with careful adherence and continuous improvement, any executive can transform their effectiveness, shaping not just their own future, but the future of their organization. Let's carry these habits with us, nurturing them until they become second nature in our pursuit of excellence in leadership. As we wrap up today's insightful journey through the effective executive, let's take a moment to reflect. Peter Drucker's wisdom isn't just for the corner office, it's about being more intentional and strategic in whatever role we play. It's clear that being effective is less about how much we do and more about doing the right things the right way. So whether you're leading a team or just leading your own work, remember to focus on contributions, leverage your strengths, manage your time wisely, and make decisions that drive you and your organization forward. Apply these principles, and you're not just doing a job. You're setting a course for greater achievement and satisfaction. Keep these insights close and let them guide you to be the effective executive in your own story. Thank you for tuning in to Snippets of Knowledge. I hope that today's insights from Peter F. Drucker's The Effective Executive empower you to step up your leadership game. Remember, the journey to excellence is ongoing, so don't forget to implement these valuable practices in your daily professional pursuits. Keep those strengths in the forefront, manage your time wisely, and continue making those impactful contributions. Until our next episode, keep learning and growing, and here's to your path to becoming an even more effective executive. Stay effective, and goodbye for now.